Thank you, Richard. It's going to be a hard afternoon. I have a table of friends over there who may have heard this story over and over again. So please forgive me if I have to repeat myself, guys. Yes, I'm a grandmother of 11, soon to be 13. So I don't shy away from that one. Let me just get myself set up. Here we go. Again, good afternoon, and as we say in Insular Life, magandang araw. Facebook former COO Sheryl Sandberg authored Lean In, Women, Work, and the Will to Lead. As used by Sheryl, to lean in means to be assertive, to move toward a leading rather than a following role. The phrase is based on the idea of a group of people sitting around a table during a discussion. Those who want their ideas heard and affect the course of the discussion will lean forward so as to be in a more central position. Those who are content to do whatever other people want will lean away from the table. Sandberg envisions a world in which there are as many women in leadership positions as men. I think the Philippines is close to reaching Sandberg's vision because she continues to be the world's 8th most gender-equal society among 149 economies and is the 2nd highest-ranked country in the Asia-Pacific region. New Zealand is first. This is based on the World Economic Forum Global Gender Gap Report of 2018. So it's made progress from the 2017 stats. Dear friends, my hope is that the outcome of this afternoon goes beyond gender conversations, but equally about being an agent of change, an influencer, a leader, whether you are a man or a woman or anyone else in between. It is through God's design that I was born female, and I have embraced this blessing to the best of who I can be and become. Therefore, my sharing with you will be from my experiences of a Filipina who leans in. To me, to lean in is to be more than just being assertive or taking on a central or leadership role. To lean in is to have an attitude of a champion, regardless of your stature or title. A champion stands for what is right, even when he or she stands alone. St. Paul asks us to persevere, whether it is convenient or inconvenient, comfortable or uncomfortable. It is important that you decide what you think is right and decide too which of the multiple choices and perspectives you agree or disagree with. Champions give their all no matter what the score. As a young girl, I used to think that I would never leave my country to work elsewhere for an extended period of time. In part, an effect of my father being away for further studies for months and years at a time. I quietly watched the many tearful goodbyes of migrant workers at airports. I've seen their faces and heard their stories during my extensive travels. Many are entertainers, caregivers, nannies, seafarers, likewise successful business people, doctors, educators, engineers, scientists, nurses, artists, and the Filipino expatriate community of which I became a part of. My friends, their stories were of hope, of success, triumph, and achievement, but also of failure, defeat, and almost despair. A common theme, however, was their shared stories of separation and loneliness from family, friends, country, and much of what we hold dear. While working in New York, I was invited to speak at the Nation Forum to remember and honor the first 15 Filipino plantation workers who over a century ago went to work as farmhands in Hawaii. The area was once a vast desert where the temperatures in the summer can rise to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. These men endured the same anxieties and loneliness, prejudices and discrimination, where it says posters of no dogs or Filipinos allowed were many. The toll it must have taken on them and their families, mentally and physically. But they persevered, and we have nothing but respect for their courage and labor, and thank them for the inspiration and possibilities they have opened to millions more. Today, the foreign workers' remittances continue to rise and contribute significantly to fueling our economy. Because of them, I have adjusted my point of view. Living sometimes is more than a matter of choice. Or if it was indeed a purposeful choice, it was of the desire to change one's circumstances from birth and the constraints of being born in a country branded as forever developing. It is to have the opportunity to live, to work, compete, and be relevant in a stronger and broader world that can harness talent and possibility, challenge, and support the weak. But how does a leader come to be? Is it destiny? I look at my own life, and if I were to trace my steps, one might say that my humble beginnings would be wanting to ready me for the huge responsibilities I took. That said, I'm a great believer that life's every twist and turn, circumstance of success or failure, is God's way of preparing us for the future roles He wants us to play. In faith, I believe we are all fitted and shaped for a purpose. I am grateful, very grateful. I was born of my parents. Both were teachers and earned their doctoral degrees through scholarships, and from their meager earnings, managed to send all of us 7 children to private Catholic schools. Father was a Fulbright scholar and earned his doctoral degree in Reading, England. Mother, here in Manila. To them, education was the one big thing we all must have. They both truly believed that education was one great equalizer. They gave us a perspective and a view of the world way beyond the boundaries of our little town. Growing up, I had my dreams. My dreams had no gender, although I grew up in a family of very strong women, and the dreams were in 4D. I wanted to be in another place and for our circumstances to be better. I chose to do the right thing. I studied hard, earned good grades, and was an active student leader. I also kept friends similarly disposed. This is where I want to say poverty is sometimes a choice. At work, I carried the same discipline, savoring every learning opportunity, developed a strong work ethic, but built my network, and willingly took on increased and new responsibilities. I grew up career-wise with huge and iconic multinational institutions, Bank of Nova Scotia, Citibank, ANZ, where the boards and senior management teams were male-dominated. Despite this, I was identified and put on a fast track and was given senior leadership management positions, heading critical functions and businesses in Asia, where my counterparts within Asia and in the other regions, Europe, US, and Latin America, were men. To have a brown-skinned Filipina lead a group of people of diverse races, mostly men, was particularly interesting and fun. I was very often mistaken as the executive assistant. I began my career with SGV being a CPA, but I was always attracted to banking, so after a few years I shifted. I spent over 30 years working for foreign institutions in the country and many parts of the world, where I was given a strong platform to excel and lead a diverse group of people. It is good to have dreams and to stretch out one's aspirations to get to the top. But we must remember too, it is likewise about the narrative on the quality of the journey. The reality is, not everyone will become CEO or chairperson. The organizational pyramid is narrower at the tip of the top. Personally, I've always marched to the beat of my own drum. As in a race, I avoided looking sideways and back, as no one person is the same. I heard this said once: do not let self-doubt neuter your ambition. We were all born from different circumstances, educated and disposed differently, gifted and blessed uniquely by our God, and you alone can know the place where you can be the best version of yourself. Your individuality makes you you, and this must shine through. Dear friends, I'm often asked, how does one own the workplace? For me, I always made sure my people were looked after. I invest and support their own desire for personal growth and achievement. We all must succeed. Putting the success of others above individual achievement, some may cynically view as another motherhood statement. I survived some of the informal practices of highly charged organizations where seemingly you look after yourself first, as no one will have your interests ahead of their own. It is all about survival. Play, do what is politically convenient. Nice does not cut it here. You must scream to be heard. Sad, isn't it? The good news, my friends, is you will still find many managers who do care and mentor generously. Leaders make those around them shine brighter. A good leader not only willingly takes responsibility, she shows empathy and compassion. Women can do this very well. Being the first ever woman country business manager in Asia for a city in the 90s came with much personal and national pride. After 100 years in the country and other parts of Asia, the company was yet to appoint a woman as country head. Oftentimes in the workplace, one is faced with many competing concerns, and as a CEO, one needs to weigh the many implications of a decision. Very often, a very logical and seemingly simple decision can affect the lives of so many. Corporate structuring or right-sizing, for example. The years 2007 and 2009, I was in New York, will be remembered as the worst years for job losses in the financial services on record. Over 200,000 jobs in a single year have been cut by US financial firms off and on Wall Street as a direct result of the subprime mortgage crisis. When people lose their jobs, it is not just one person whose livelihood is lost, but also those who depend on her for support. I had my share of many sleepless nights and self-doubt, whether in fact capitalism and being successful were compatible with one's desire to be a decent human being. That said, my many years of working overseas, having Asia regional coverage, and being based in New York and Singapore were everything I hoped they would be and more, as a professional and as an individual. I think I blossomed in multiple ways and consider myself richer in every sense of the word. Because if we have to be hungry for something, let it be for learning and gaining a deeper understanding of people and events that affect both our today and future. Sharing with you, dear friends, that 3 years ago, I was drafted by the Board of Trustees to be the next CEO, and then as the Executive Chairman of Insular Life. How I got here is another of my God-written stories. Insular Life has always been all-Filipino institution competing in an industry dominated by foreign insurance providers, some of whom are among the best in the world. I shattered another glass ceiling as I was the first woman CEO, and now I have Mona Lisa following, and the first woman executive chairman in the company's over 100 years of existence. As a latecomer to the industry, I realized how, in a sense, the whole concept of insurance and assurance have been underappreciated. Many of us establish a banking relationship for savings and investments as our first financial port of call and believe it ends there. Being a banker, I discovered very quickly that the purpose of life insurance is one of the most noble. It is indeed an industry that provides a lifetime for good. It is only life insurance that offers, for example, the possibility of giving more than what it could take in, because it is able to guarantee a death benefit even before an insured shall have completed the premium paying period. Life insurance also gives money to a bereaved family when every other creditor either takes away money from the family or freezes the assets of the deceased. The nobility of life insurance is matched by the excellent reputation of the company we keep. Insular Life, at 108 years, is one of the most enduring, respected, and strong institutions in the country, and a fully Filipino company at that. We carry the Philippine flag. Our company has long embraced our responsibility as a Filipino institution to be involved in programs that have significant social impact. For 50 years now, Insular Foundation has given educational opportunities to thousands of underprivileged children to enable them to reverse their fortunes and become productive citizens. We've also been promoting awareness of our natural resources and clean environment. The 2018 calendar set Call of the Wild puts a spotlight on the Philippines' endangered species, among them the Philippine eagle, InLife's icon and symbol. For 2019, we created Steps Towards a Better Future, an advocacy to preserve nature and espousing a greener space to live in. And to put our money where our beliefs are, we subscribe 1 billion worth of green bonds issued by the International Finance Corporation. IFC will use these funds to fund projects related to renewable power, energy efficiency, sustainable agriculture, green buildings, and waste management. This is a great opportunity for us because as an institutional investor, we want to put our foot forward for these projects to succeed. Dear friends, many ask why I accepted this role. I did so as a personal mission and as a challenge to find ways to convince our Filipino friends to include the basic life insurance coverage in their financial plan in order to secure themselves and their loved ones. A life insurance policy in every Filipino home, no matter how humble. This is one of the biggest reasons why I said yes to the invitation. As an institution, we have brought economic independence, health and wellness, and kept families together for generations of our policyholders, our sales force, and our employees. Today, we are undergoing an organizational transformation to embrace the new business realities so as to become the high-performing and forever relevant and significant organization that we could be. Today, our capacity to embrace change is manifested by our stated ambition of reimagining today while building the business model of the future. Part of this transformation ambition is our refreshed brand identity. The refreshed brand represents the new realities of our workforce, our products and services, our distribution channels. It represents our dynamism and capability to deliver insurance and financial solutions as appropriate for our market and in a manner that is most convenient for them. The brand name Insular Life is now shortened to InLife, and the iconic Philippine eagle in our logo has acquired a new vibrancy of colors and freedom. Together with this refreshed logo is our new tagline, a lifetime for good. My friends, last year, I accepted the invitation to be a member of the Advisory Board for Gender and Development of the World Bank, and I am to serve for 2 years. It was an honor for me personally, being the first and for now the only Filipina to sit on the board. There I listened and participated in discussions on the issues affecting women all over the world, such as violence against women, human trafficking, gender pay inequality, financial inclusion, access to education, health, and employment, to name a few. Being part of the Gender Development Board allowed me to identify which priority area our company can commit to, not just as philanthropy, but as part of the business strategy. To this end, we are in partnership agreement with the International Corporate of the World Bank, IFC, to educate and offer risk mitigating solutions to the unserved women's segments in the Philippines. A 2015 report released by IFC entitled She for Shield, Ensure Women to Better Protect All. The women's segment represents an untapped US $1.7 trillion opportunity, most of which come from the emerging markets. Our focus is to help women become self-reliant and financially independent, and we will do that through our 4 pillars of financial inclusion: financial education, health and wellness, women-specific solutions, and access to business and social networks. This last one, we're not calling it entrepreneurs, we call it intrapreneurs. In fact, the economic or profitability component in the equation is not as crucial to us in life as the opportunity to expand their reach to the uninsured and unserved women, using technology to enable us to find innovative ways to create meaningful and long-term relationships with them. This program is called the InLife Sheroes. More than heroes, no? Our dream is to be able to make a positive impact to 1 million Filipinas in 3 years, then increase the number as we move forward. To date, there are many women organizations whose mission is to empower women. We want to add our voice to the collective effort that's being done in the hope that we will create a movement where we see the light of day when every Filipina will be financially independent. And that includes all of us here. Finally, I wish to announce that InLife will be sponsoring an award exclusively for women leaders. Richard and Rebecca were very gracious to welcome such an addition to the Asia CEO Awards category this year. It will be the search for the InLife Shero Woman Leader of the Year. We want to cast a spotlight on deserving women leaders in her field of expertise this year. The details will be released together with the other categories during Asia CEO Awards press launch. To our daughters, granddaughters, young girls, sisters, nieces, ladies, and women, and in fact, like women like us, do not let self-doubt neuter your ambition. Again, I say we were all born from different circumstances, educated and disposed differently, gifted and blessed uniquely by our God, and you alone can know the place where you can be the best version of yourself. Again, I say, your individuality makes you you, and this must shine through. Dear friends, I'd like to share with you another personal perspective, and then we close. We are standing on the brink of the great cycle of human progress. The 4th industrial revolution is upon us. The world is rapidly changing. Blockchain, robotics, the Internet of Things, collaborative of commons. Digital disruption is on us. So is global climate change, geopolitics, and a new world order driven by migration and trade lines. We ourselves are changing. I have changed. Change, they say, can be done unto you, or we can harness it. What do we want? Let us decide what country we will be, what kind of character, values, and ideals we will represent, and then take individual responsibility in making the changes we want to happen. Rather than looking for what is good in the world, we ourselves should be the good in the world. For the sake of our beautiful country, let us reject and not accept any form of violence, big or small. Corruption, I believe, is one form of violence to our moral fiber, to our youth, and to our institutions. Let us also embrace diversity in thought, word, and deed. For me personally, I wish and pray for our country to have a stronger economy, that can bring about financial independence for a majority of our people and increase capability for our children. Only through education and economic freedom can we deal with the issues of poverty. In fighting poverty, we condemn laziness and procrastination and celebrate the dignity of work. Dear friends, let us be champions for our country. Genuine success comes only to those who are ready for it. So let's not step back and always find the grace and courage to step forward. I invite you all together, let us lean in for the Philippines. God bless you and God bless the Philippines.